Hey, I heard that you were going to the high-end steak restaurant.
Yes, it's true. I reserved it 1 year ago. I'm planning to go with my relatives.
Do you know that it's a steak restaurant for celebrities?
Of course I know that. I heard that it's even more difficult to get reservations now compared to a year ago.
That's right. I tried to make a reservation because I didn't want to lose to you, but they told me the next availability is in 2 years. Don't you think that's ridiculous?
It can't be helped. It's a very popular restaurant.
Let's be clear. That restaurant is not for poor people like you. I'll take your reservation.
What are you talking about? This is a reservation I made a year ago. You can't just take it away from me. Even if you're a mom friend, I won't tolerate it.
Huh? A mom friend? Don't play dumb with me. I don't consider you my friend. How dare you poor people try to be friends with me? You're 100 years too old.
I'm not even that poor. Why are you treating me this way?
It's because you live in a tiny and shabby apartment with your family.
A shabby apartment. Our apartment was built just a few years ago, and the inside looks nice as well. Please don't call it shabby when you haven't even been there before.
Anything other than a high-rise condo is a shabby apartment to me.
You have a very biased mindset.
Because it's true, isn't it? The poor people who can only live in those cheap apartments shouldn't go to a fancy steak restaurant. Instead of having poor people like you, they'd rather have rich people with discerning palates like me. Why don't you poor people just sit back and eat meat from the supermarket?
You're being too rude. We're not as poor as you say, Bella. I'm not sure myself, but I think we are reasonably well off. It is not funny for me to be treated as a poor person based on your own assumption.
Are you angry?
Of course I'm angry.
I hate poor people because they get angry easily.
Please cut it out. To be honest, I feel pretty bad.
I also get annoyed when I talk to poor people like you.
Then why did you text me? If you don't want to have anything to do with me, you don't have to contact me.
But this time, I called you for a reason.
About giving you my reservation? I absolutely don't want to do that.
What? You think you can talk to me like that? Do you think I'm going to let you get away with it?
I'm not afraid of anything.
Anyway, give me the reservation. I'm sure the restaurant will be disappointed if they get a poor family like you. Most of the other customers are rich. They don't want to eat steak and share the same air as the poor. And you guys, if you eat at a place that doesn't fit your image, you'll regret it. I'm saying this with everyone's best interest in mind.
It's none of your business. I won't give up my reservation no matter how many times you ask me to. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to keep my distance from you for a while.
Huh?
If you treat me and my family like we're poor, of course I wouldn't want to spend time with you. Goodbye now.
Oh, really? Then I'll take everything away from you, even if it's by force.
The day of the restaurant reservation. Why are you at the restaurant, Bella?
What? You can see us?
The server just told us that someone used our name and was already seated at the table. When I went to look inside to see who it was, I saw that it was you, which is why I'm contacting you right now.
I see. I was too busy eating my steak so I didn't even notice.
So you stole my reservation, didn't you?
Yup. Poor people don't deserve a fancy steak. I'm rich, and I took your reservation. You can go eat a cheap steak from the supermarket.
I'll make you homeless.
Have you gone mad with anger?
Immediately explain the situation to the restaurant and leave immediately. That's the seat we reserved.
Of course we can't. We're already eating. We can't cause any trouble for the restaurant.
How did you get into the restaurant in the first place? We had a reservation for 12:30. You came half an hour earlier than our reservation time.
I said your name, and we got in without a hitch. As for the time and number of people, you just made a random excuse. You were a little early for our reservation, but they already had a table open, so we were easily able to enter. It's a good thing we came early.
So you're going to continue eating?
That's right. We'll pay for it, of course. Maria, you're lucky you didn't have to spend more money. You should be thanking me.
That's enough. I'll tell my father about your father.
Your father?
Yes, that's right. He hasn't been in yet. He's been working late. I'll tell him later.
Go ahead. It doesn't matter what your father has to say. I'm too busy enjoying my fine steaks. Now, if you'll excuse me.
A few hours later. Hello, Bella. Did you enjoy your stay?
Look who it is. The person who lost their reservation to me and did get to enjoy the fine steaks. Poor Maria. What do you want from me?
There you go again. Bella, do you have any idea what kind of situation you're in? You don't, do you?
What? Are you threatening me?
I'm not threatening you. I'm appalled. It's because of you that we couldn't eat in the restaurant.
Are you asking me to pay for taking away your reservation? I'm sorry, but I don't have money to give to poor people. Rich people don't waste their money on useless things.
I don't want your money.
So, where did you guys end up eating? Did you buy a cheap steak from the supermarket? How can you eat such bad meat?
No, we didn't. We got a takeout steak from that restaurant. We had it served to us and ate it at home. And I think supermarket meat is still good.
What do you mean? That restaurant doesn't do takeout.
That's true. But once I explained our situation, the restaurant took responsibility for not checking who came into the restaurant, so they gave us free steaks. For my whole family. Oh, they also let me make a new reservation for 1 month from now.
What the hell? That's not fair. You're poor. And of course, you're going to give me your reservation in a month, right?
Enough of that. A grown woman hijacking someone else's reservation? Have you no shame?
It's more embarrassing for a poor person to make a reservation at a fancy steak restaurant.
Does your family know the situation?
Of course not. I told them that my mom friend couldn't make it, so they gave us a reservation instead. My husband and in-laws were thrilled. They love me even more now.
Then they'll hate you soon enough.
Huh? What are you talking about? Anyways, what does a poor person like you want with me? I don't have time to be talking to you.
I'm going to be straightforward. I need you to leave the apartment you live in immediately.
Huh? I don't know why you're telling me to get out of my house.
My father actually manages the apartment.
You're lying, right?
If you think I'm lying, check the lease. My father's name is Marco Brown. His name should be on it.
My husband keeps the contracts and stuff. I don't know where it is. So, you're telling the truth?
Yes, I'm telling the truth.
Well, let's say your father is a landlord. Why should we leave?
You're the reason why.
Is it because I stole your reservation at a fancy steakhouse? Isn't that too crazy of a reason to kick us out?
Of course not. Bella, you complain about people who live on the lower floors. You even put garbage in their mailboxes to annoy them.
What's wrong with that? It's their fault for living in a luxury apartment when they're poor. I'm sure other people also feel uncomfortable with people on the lower floors. I'm representing the rich community to get rid of the poor, but they are quite resilient.
Just because someone lives on a lower floor doesn't mean you're poor. Some people don't like heights and choose to live on the lower floors. Some people choose to live on the lower floors because they can go up and down the stairs instead of using the elevator. There are people who want to live on the lower floors for convenience. Without knowing the circumstances of such people, I think it's wrong to make fun of them saying they are poor.
But to try and kick me just because of that? Isn't that going too far?
We received several complaints from residents. There are so many, so my father told me that he wanted to evict you. But since our children go to the same school, and we have same mutual involvement, I feel bad for your children and husband, who hadn't done anything wrong. So I asked my father to let it go.
Fine. Then from now on, I'll make sure I don't call them poor people. Is that okay?
No, it's not. You're going to be evicted no matter what now.
What? Why?
I think you know why. Better than anyone.
What?
Bella, you're behind on your rent, right? If you fail to pay for 1 more month, you'll be evicted.
Well, that's...
You say you're rich, but you have no money?
I have money, but I can't pay it now.
Why is that? You receive money for rent and living expenses from your husband, don't you?
Yes, but we have a lot of expenses. I'm just not in a position to pay them all right now.
Your husband doesn't know that you're behind on rent, does he?
No, he doesn't. I'm sure he thinks we're in time.
Just as I suspected. Then I will let your husband know on your behalf.
Hey, don't do that. This has nothing to do with you.
It has everything to do with me, since I'm going to become the landlord starting this month.
What? Really?
Yes. I was going to make an announcement about it very soon.
I'm curious. What does your family do? If they own this high-rise apartment, doesn't that mean they're very rich?
Well, I think it depends on who you ask if we're rich or not, but I don't think we're poor at least. My parents own a real estate company.
You mean you are the daughter of the company president?
And that's right.
But if you're so rich, why do you live in such a cheap apartment? And it was on a lower floor, right?
My husband and I discussed that we wanted to live in an apartment that is very spacious. Besides, compared to a high-rise apartment, the rent would be much lower. With the money we save, we thought we'd save up for the future. But now that my job has stabilized and my husband has moved up in the world, we decided to take the plunge and move into a high-rise apartment. My children also wanted to live in a high-rise.
Is the high-rise you're moving to the one that I live now?
Yes, that's right. If I live in the condo that I manage, I'll be able to remember the faces of the residents. I can also deal with any problems as soon as possible. I can even get rid of nuisance residents like you, Bella.
Please, don't kick me out. It's always been a dream of mine to live in a high-rise. So please don't destroy my dreams.
Then why don't you just leave this condo and move to another one? If you have the money, that is.
My husband would never agree to that. Our home is close to work, and he and the kids love it.
I feel bad for your husband and children if I kick them out. I'll contact you later about what I decide to do.
Wait a minute. Please don't tell my husband.
A few hours later.
My husband found out that I was spending all our money on brand name goods, and we had a big fight. He sold everything I bought.
It's only natural that happened, but I'm glad he decided to pay the rent immediately.
This isn't good. He left our home and hasn't come back for a while, and he took my son with him. Could it be? Maybe he went to his parents' house.
That's possible.
This shouldn't be happening. I don't know how I'm going to live on my own.
If you don't have any money on hand, why don't you take a part-time job to earn money?
I can't. I've never worked since I got married.
I think it would be difficult for you to continue to live in that condo, though.
What? But the rent was paid, so I have the right to live here.
It wasn't you who paid the rent. Your husband paid the rent.
He's my family, so I have the right to live here. You can't kick me out just because you don't like me.
Actually, I told your husband that if he wants to continue living with you, he has to leave the condo. Then your husband told me that he's going to divorce you, so he wants to continue living there. I felt bad that I would have to kick him and his kid out, so I told him my conditions and he agreed to them immediately.
Wait a minute. I don't think I heard you properly. What do you mean? Divorce?
Your husband didn't tell you, did he? Your husband said that once he learned that you were bullying the other residents and making them feel bad, he lost confidence in your relationship. He said he was divorcing you for the sake of the children.
This is the first time I'm hearing of this.
He's probably on his way to report this to his parents. He said he wants a divorce right away.
I don't want a divorce. Not only will I not be able to live in a high-rise, I'm going to be poor. I've been living on my husband's income all this time. I haven't saved anything at all.
If you have no money, then I guess you're going to be homeless.
What are you laughing at? Convince him not to divorce me.
No. It's up to the couple to decide whether or not to divorce. I don't think it's up to me, a stranger, to intervene.
We're friends, right? Your friend is in trouble, so help me.
Friends? Bella, you said that you didn't consider me a friend.
I didn't know at the time that you were rich, that's why I said that. I consider you a friend now.
I'm sorry, but I don't consider you a friend.
What?
I don't think anyone would want to be friends with someone who disrespects them and treats them like they're poor.
I'll apologize about that. It was my mistake.
You don't have to apologize to me now. I have no intention of having anything to do with you anymore.
Don't say that.
And by the way, the other mom friends have also said they'll stop interacting with you after your divorce.
No way.
I'm sure they're also upset with your attitude. Everyone hated your attitude and your bullying. It's going to be rough living on your own, but I hope that you can survive. Goodbye now. Shortly thereafter, Bella and her husband divorced. Her husband, who was financially stable, took custody of their children. I was told that Bella was spending her husband's savings when he was single without permission, so instead of receiving money for the divorce, she lost money. Bella's parents had also cut ties with her, so she has no one to rely on and is in a desperate situation. Although she was spared a life of homelessness, she now lives in a rundown apartment full of insects. She is also having to repay her ex-husband's money to pay the child support. On the other hand, in the high-rise apartment that I manage, ever since Bella disappeared, there have been no more complaints. I would like to continue to create a comfortable living environment for everyone.